Get ready. In this special video, we will uncover 9 things you should never accept from anyone, not even from your closest friends. And no, we're not talking about receiving ugly socks for Christmas. There are certain things, like unsolicited opinions and others' expectations, that we simply shouldn't accept, as they can impede our personal growth. But don't worry. You'll not only learn to spot these emotional traps, but I'll also guide you on how to gracefully and confidently push them aside. Stick around till the end, where I'll reveal the most harmful thing you should never accept, and how to turn it to your advantage. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Number 1. The trap of unsolicited opinions. Have you ever felt like you attract unsolicited opinions? Those uninvited comments that show up like a door-to-door salesperson trying to sell you something you never wanted? Well, today we're addressing the first weed we need to uproot from our personal garden. Picture yourself in line at the supermarket, ready to pay for your cart filled with fruits and vegetables. Suddenly, the woman behind you glances at your items and says, "Oh dear, don't you think all that fiber will give you gas?" Boom. Classic unsolicited opinion. While these moments may seem harmless or even funny, unsolicited opinions can be just as toxic to your dreams and self-esteem as weed killer. Why? Because we often start to second-guess our decisions, question our judgment, and, worst of all, begin living according to others' expectations. The wise Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "Do not worry about the opinions of others, except when they coincide with your own principles." Such wisdom in just a few words. But how do we incorporate this into our daily lives? It's not about becoming grumpy hermits who ignore everyone. It's about developing an internal filter, a detector for useful opinions. First, ask yourself, did I seek this opinion? If the answer is no, you have a hint. Second, is it coming from someone who genuinely understands my situation and has relevant experience? If it's your neighbor giving advice about your career when they've never worked in your field, they might not be the best authority. Most importantly, does this opinion align with my values and goals? Ultimately, you are the expert in your own life. No one understands your dreams, fears, and motivations better than you do. This isn't to say you should dismiss all advice. Sometimes, unsolicited opinions contain valuable insights. The key is learning to sift through them like a gold digger searching a river full of stones. So, the next time someone offers an opinion you didn't ask for, smile, acknowledge the gesture, yes, even if it's the lady in line at the grocery store, and decide whether that opinion deserves a spot in your mental garden or if it's better left behind. Remember, your mind is like a beautiful garden. Nurture what you plant, as that will determine what grows. If an unsolicited opinion slips in, don't hesitate to use your mental scissors to prune it. Number 2. The dangerous gift of others' expectations. Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Imagine your life as a beautiful blank canvas. You hold the brush, ready to create your masterpiece, when suddenly, bam, your parents, boss, friends, and society appear, each with their own color palettes, insisting on how you should paint your picture. You should be a lawyer, one says. Get married before 30, insists another. Buy a house, have children, and get a stable job, they shout in unison. Before you know it, your canvas is filled with strokes that don't feel like yours. This gift of others' expectations can be more dangerous than a snake hiding in your garden. Why? Because, unlike unsolicited opinions, these expectations often come from people we love and respect, making them harder to ignore. History is packed with people who dared to break expectations. Ever heard of Albert Einstein, that messy-haired genius who transformed physics? His teachers thought he was just an average student. In fact, they said he wouldn't amount to much. How wrong they were. Einstein didn't just defy expectations, he obliterated them. He dared to think differently, question the norms, and ultimately changed how we see the universe. Now, this doesn't mean you should ignore everyone and live like a rogue hermit. The key is learning to filter expectations, deciding which ones reflect your true self and which to discard. This is where Stoic wisdom steps in. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, offered a powerful way to handle outside pressures. Some things are under our control and some are not. Simple, right? Yet deeply impactful. When it comes to others' expectations, you can't control what they expect, but you can control how you respond. So, next time you feel burdened by others' expectations, pause and breathe. Remind yourself, those expectations belong to them, not you. Ask, does this align with my values and goals? If not, thank them for the thought. It's usually well-intended, and let it go. Remember, you are the artist of your life. No one else can create your masterpiece. Living by others' expectations is like wearing shoes that don't fit, uncomfortable and damaging over time. So if needed, dare to go barefoot. Just do it your way. In the end, you're the only one you live with. So why not make that journey a bold, authentic adventure, free from others' expectations? Number 3. The hidden cost of favors with ulterior motives. Ever been offered something that felt too good to be true? Picture your life as a game of chess. You're strategizing when suddenly someone hands you an extra pawn. Sounds great, right? But what if that pawn is a Trojan horse, poised to sabotage you from within? Favors with hidden agendas are just that. Gifts that seem generous but are really traps. They may appear harmless, even helpful, but the hidden strings attached can outweigh any immediate benefit. So, how do you spot these deceptive favors? Watch for patterns. If someone frequently offers unsolicited help, be cautious. Consider the timing. Does the favor arrive just when they need something from you? Suspicious. Trust your gut. If a favor feels off, it probably is. Evaluate the cost. Does it compromise you or put you in debt to them? Now, this doesn't mean you should become paranoid and refuse all help. The goal is to develop a radar for authentic favors. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, emphasized that true favors come with no strings attached, given purely for the joy of helping. So, when someone offers you a favor, ask yourself, are they acting like Seneca or more like a salesman in disguise? Remember, not all favors are traps. Some people are genuinely kind. The key is learning to tell the difference. And here's the most important part. Don't feel guilty saying no. If a favor doesn't feel right, it's perfectly okay to decline politely. Your peace of mind is far more valuable than any favor. Don't let anyone make you feel indebted for something you didn't ask for. So next time someone offers you a favor that feels too good to be true, pause, breathe, and assess the situation. In the game of life, you are the main player. Don't let anyone else move your pieces. Number 4, constant negativity. Now let's talk about another toxic element we must avoid. Constant negativity. Ever notice how some people seem to carry a storm cloud with them, raining pessimism everywhere? Imagine your mind as a flourishing garden, and those negative people are like snails, ready to devour every positive thought you plant. Scary, right? Constant negativity is like a slow-acting poison that seeps into your life without you even noticing. At first, it might seem harmless. Everyone complains sometimes. But when negativity becomes a habit, it starts to corrode your happiness and well-being. Science backs this up. Studies show that emotions are contagious. Yes, negativity can spread like a cold. Researchers call this emotional contagion, and it's real. A study from Indiana University even found that prolonged exposure to negativity can affect your brain function. Imagine that. Those constant complaints might not just ruin your mood, but could be rewiring your brain. So how do we protect ourselves from this subtle poison without isolating ourselves? Here's where Stoicism helps again. Marcus Aurelius had a powerful approach to dealing with negativity. He said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." Simple, but incredibly effective. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we have the power to control how we react to the negativity of others. The next time you find yourself in a negative spiral, take a breath and remind yourself that others' negativity doesn't have to be yours. Ask, is this negativity adding value to my life? If not, it's time to set boundaries. Practice empathy, but don't absorb their negativity. Often, the most negative people are those suffering the most. Understand them, but keep your own garden of thoughts filled with positivity, gratitude, and constructive actions. You can't control others' negativity, but you can choose how you respond. Don't let someone else's pessimism cloud your view of life. And if you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it may be time to reassess your social circle. As Epictetus said, the key to happiness and success is choosing the right people to surround yourself with. So, are you ready to spot and neutralize negativity in your life? Remember, your mind is a beautiful garden. Nurture it, protect it, and don't let the weeds of negativity take root. Before moving on to the next trap, we need to avoid, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe with the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you're as passionate about Stoicism as I am, drop a comment saying, "I like Stoicism." Also, if you'd like to become part of this wonderful community, you can join the channel by clicking the link in the pinned comment. Let's keep learning and growing together as we improve our lives. Number 5. The dangerous illusion of external validation. Have you ever caught yourself obsessively checking your phone, eagerly awaiting a notification that someone has liked your latest post? If so, you're not alone. Think of your self-esteem as a balloon. Each like, compliment, and pat on the back acts like a breath of air inflating it. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. What happens when those breaths stop? Constantly seeking approval is like building your house on quicksand. It may feel stable at first, but it can collapse at any moment. Trust me, you don't want to be there when it does. Here's a funny story that illustrates this perfectly. One day, Juan decided to post a photo of his breakfast, just a simple bowl of oatmeal. He spent 20 minutes selecting the perfect filter and another 10 crafting a clever caption. Then, he waited. He checked his phone every 30 seconds for an hour. When he finally got his first like, he almost jumped for joy. But when 2 hours passed and he only had 6 likes, he spiraled into self-doubt. Is my life that boring? Should I have added strawberries? Sound familiar? It's easy to laugh at Juan, but many of us fall into the same trap, maybe in less obvious ways. So, what would our friend Epictetus say about this? This Stoic philosopher had profound insights about the true source of self-esteem. He advised, "Do not look for things to happen as you wish. Wish for things to happen as they do, and you will be happy." Epictetus teaches us that our happiness and self-esteem shouldn't hinge on external factors we can't control. Instead of seeking approval from others, we should focus on our actions and values. How can we liberate ourselves from this trap of external validation? Here are some ideas. Practice self-reflection. Ask yourself why you do what you do. Is it for your own fulfillment or to impress others? Set your own standards. Define what success means to you rather than relying on social media likes. Celebrate your personal achievements. It doesn't matter if no one else sees or appreciates them. Be comfortable with disagreement. Not everyone will approve of your decisions, and that's perfectly okay. Remember, true validation comes from within. It's like having an endless source of water in your own garden, instead of depending on the unpredictable rain of others' approval. So the next time you crave a compliment or a like, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, do I really need this, or can I find that validation within myself? Because in the end, the only opinion that truly matters is yours, and that's something no one can take away from you. Number 6. The invisible weight of unfair comparisons. Have you ever felt like you're in an endless race, constantly looking over your shoulder to see who's catching up? Picture your life as a train ride. You're enjoying the scenery, moving at your own pace, when suddenly you notice another train zooming by. What do? Many of us succumb to the temptation of comparing ourselves to others, forgetting that each train has its own destination and track. These comparisons can steal our peace in such subtle ways that we hardly notice. It's like a silent thief that robs us of joy and satisfaction, leaving an emptiness that seems impossible to fill. But we're not alone in this struggle. Even those we admire, who seem to have it all figured out, wrestle with this inner demon. Consider Lady Gaga, one of the most successful artists of our time. In an interview, she shared how she struggled with constant comparisons to other artists, which led her to doubt her own unique talent. I used to look at other women in the industry and feel so insecure. I wondered if I was pretty or if my music was good enough, she admitted. This revelation reminds us that even those at the top aren't immune to the poison of comparison. So how can we liberate ourselves from this invisible burden? Stoic wisdom comes to our aid once more. Epictetus offers a powerful exercise to help us break free from the need to compare ourselves to others. The exercise is simple. Whenever you catch yourself comparing yourself to someone else, stop and ask, is this within my control? The answer will always be no. You can't control the talents, circumstances, or successes of others. The only things you can control are your own actions and attitudes. Let's practice together. Identify comparative thinking. I wish I were as successful as my coworker. Stop and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is my coworker's success under my control? Recognize that it's not. Shift your focus to what you can control: your efforts, dedication, and learning. This exercise may seem straightforward, but its power lies in repetition. Each time you practice it, you strengthen your ability to concentrate on your own path instead of constantly peering at others. Remember, your journey is unique. There's no sense in comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Everyone has their own pace, challenges, and victories. So, the next time you find yourself slipping into the comparison trap, imagine you're back on that train. Instead of gazing out the window at the other trains, focus on your own journey. Enjoy the scenery, appreciate the stops along the way, and remember that every kilometer traveled is an achievement in itself. Because at the end of the day, the only comparison that truly matters is the one you make with yourself. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Are you moving toward your own goals? That, my friend, is what truly counts. Number 7. The prison of unsolicited advice. Have you ever felt like everyone has become an expert in your life except for you? Today, we'll explore the 7th trap we need to avoid: the prison of unsolicited advice. Picture your mind as a house. You are the owner, but suddenly it seems like everyone has a key and enters uninvited, rearranging your furniture and telling you how to live. Frustrating, right? Unsolicited advice resembles those unwanted guests. They show up unannounced, overstay their welcome, and often leave behind emotional chaos. How can we manage this situation without becoming antisocial hermits? First, it's crucial to understand the difference between requested and unsolicited advice. Requested advice is like inviting a friend to dinner. You wait for them, appreciate their presence, and likely enjoy the interaction. Unsolicited advice, on the other hand, is like that nosy neighbor who knocks on your door just as you're about to sit down for your meal. So, how can we handle this unwanted advice politely? Here are some strategies. Be grateful, but don't commit. A simple "thank you for sharing your opinion" can work wonders. Set clear boundaries. "I appreciate your concern, but I'd prefer to handle this my way." Redirect the conversation. Subtly change the topic to steer clear of more unsolicited advice. Use humor. A light-hearted joke can diffuse tension and convey your message. Remember, it's not about being rude, it's about safeguarding your mental and emotional space. Now, what would our friend Marcus Aurelius say about this? This philosopher-emperor offered profound insights into inner wisdom. He wrote, "Look inside you. There is the source of good that can always spring up if you keep it up." Marcus Aurelius teaches us that true wisdom comes from within ourselves, not from outside sources. We don't need to seek constant external advice. Instead, we should learn to trust our intuition and experiences. This doesn't mean ignoring all advice. Sometimes outside perspectives can be beneficial. The key is learning to filter what we really need and discern between helpful advice and mere noise. Not all advice is detrimental. The key is knowing how to differentiate between useful insights and those that aren't. A golden rule I follow is, only heed the advice of people who are where you want to be. For instance, I have a YouTube channel and go to the gym regularly. If someone who has never created online content gives me advice on running my channel, I'll take it with a grain of salt. But if a successful YouTuber shares their opinion, I will definitely listen. The same applies to the gym. If someone who's never lifted weights tells me how to train, I appreciate their interest, but will stick to my own path. However, if an experienced coach offers advice, I'm more likely to take it seriously. So, the next time you find yourself inundated with unsolicited advice, take a deep breath. Remember that you are the expert on your own life and know your situation better than anyone else. Practice the art of polite listening, but don't feel obligated to follow every piece of advice you receive. Treat unsolicited advice like a buffet. Take what works for you and leave the rest. Above all, the most important voice to heed is your own. As Marcus Aurelius would say, true wisdom is within you, waiting to be discovered. So, are you ready to break free from the prison of unsolicited advice? Remember, your mind is your castle. You decide who enters and who stays. Don't hesitate to be the gatekeeper of your thoughts and decisions. Number 8. The mirage of quick fixes. Have you ever been tempted to search for a magical shortcut to solve your problems? Imagine your life as a massive puzzle where each piece represents a challenge, a learning experience, or an achievement. Now, what if someone offered you superglue that promised to put all the pieces together in an instant? Tempting, right? But would it really work? Quick fixes are like that imaginary superglue. They promise instant results, but often leave us with a sticky mess. Why do we keep falling into this trap? A study conducted by psychologists at the University of Pennsylvania sheds light on this phenomenon. They discovered that our brains are programmed to seek the path of least resistance when confronted with complex problems. A primitive part of our brain craves immediate solutions, even when logic tells us it's unlikely to work. Here's the catch: real life doesn't operate that way. Significant challenges require time, effort, and perseverance to overcome. There is no magic pill for success, no matter how much we wish there were. So, how can we resist the allure of quick fixes? This is where Stoic wisdom comes into play. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, "No great achievement is achieved suddenly." This simple statement holds a profound truth. Truly valuable accomplishments require patience and persistent effort. It's not about finding a shortcut. It's about enjoying the journey and learning from each step. Let's practice a more Stoic approach to challenges together. Identify the problem. Clearly define what you want to achieve. Embrace complexity. Recognize that significant problems rarely have simple solutions. Plan for the long term. Set realistic goals and break your path into manageable steps. Cultivate patience. Remember that real progress takes time. Celebrate small advances. Every step forward is a victory. Next time you're tempted by a quick fix, pause, take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I looking for a shortcut, or am I willing to do the necessary work? Because ultimately, lasting solutions aren't found in magic pills or secret tricks. They are built on consistent effort, patience, and perseverance. As Epictetus would say, difficulties are what show people who they are. So, are you ready to abandon the mirage of quick fixes and embrace the path of persistent effort? Remember, every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow, learn, and become a stronger version of yourself. Don't search for shortcuts. Look for growth. The journey is just as vital as the destination, and who knows, you might discover that the real treasure was along the way, all along. Number 9. The guilt that does not belong to us. Now, let's discuss the 9th and final trap we must avoid: the guilt that isn't ours. Have you ever felt like a magnet for other people's guilt? Picture your mind as a garden. You've worked hard to cultivate positive thoughts and healthy emotions, but suddenly someone comes along and starts throwing their own weeds into your space. How do you respond? Many of us, out of habit or to avoid conflict, accept this guilt without thinking. However, taking on others' faults is like watering those weeds. You give them life, allowing them to flourish, and before you know it, they've invaded your entire mental garden. Why is accepting guilt that isn't ours so detrimental? First, it drains our energy that could be directed toward our own growth. Second, it distorts our perception of reality. And third, it traps us in patterns of victimization. So how can we liberate ourselves from this trap? Here's a practical technique for establishing healthy boundaries. Identify. Recognize when someone is trying to shift the blame onto you. Breathe. Take a moment to calm yourself before responding. Validate. Acknowledge the other person's feelings without accepting blame. Set limits. Clearly communicate that you won't accept that blame. Redirect. Encourage the person to seek constructive solutions. Practice this technique, and you'll see your mental garden beginning to thrive, free from the weeds of others' guilt. Remember what our friend Epictetus said: "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." What Epictetus teaches us is that we have the power to choose how we perceive situations. So, the next time someone tries to pass their blame onto you, remember, you are the gardener of your mind. You control which plants thrive and which do not. It's not about being insensitive to others' problems. It's about maintaining a healthy balance. You can offer support and empathy without carrying blame that doesn't belong to you. Remember, every time you reject unfair blame, you are planting a seed of self-esteem and self-respect. Those are the most beautiful flowers you can cultivate in your mental garden. Are you ready to free yourself from the burden of other people's guilt? Start today. Observe your interactions, identify when someone is trying to pass the blame onto you, and begin establishing healthy boundaries. Do your best with what is within your power, and accept the rest as it comes. Throughout this special video, we've explored the 9 traps to avoid in our daily lives. From unsolicited opinions to second-hand guilt, we've unveiled these silent thieves of our peace of mind. But how do we take action? We practice wise rejection. What do we do with all this knowledge? This is where the art of wise rejection comes into play. It's not about arbitrarily closing doors, but about carefully choosing what we allow into our lives. It's like being the goalkeeper of your exclusive club. Not everyone deserves entry. Imagine your mind as a beautiful garden. Wise rejection acts as the fence that protects your flowers from weeds. Every no you say to something that doesn't serve you is a yes to your personal growth. But how can we practice wise rejection without feeling guilty? Here are some strategies. Recognize your value. Remember that your time and energy are precious resources. Be kind but firm. You don't have to be rude to set limits. Offer alternatives. Sometimes no can be rephrased as not now or some other way. Practice self-reflection. Regularly evaluate if your current commitments are serving you. I propose a final exercise to put everything we've learned into practice. Take a piece of paper and divide it into 2 columns. In the first column, write down all the things you've been accepting in your life that no longer serve you, whether they're commitments, toxic relationships, or negative habits. In the second column, note what you would gain by rejecting each of those things. More time, peace of mind, energy for your true passions. This exercise will provide a clear vision of what you need to start rejecting wisely in your life. Remember, every no is an opportunity for a more meaningful yes. Wise rejection isn't about shutting the world out. It's about creating space for what truly matters. It's like cleaning out your emotional closet. Sometimes you must remove the old to make room for the new. So the next time you face a decision, ask yourself, does this deserve a place in my mental garden? If the answer is no, don't hesitate to reject it. You're protecting something invaluable, your inner peace, self-love, and potential for growth. As Marcus Aurelius said, very little is necessary for a happy life. It is all within you, in your way of thinking. Your freedom begins in your mind. You are the captain of your ship and the artist of your life. Are you ready to take control and navigate your way to a fulfilling life? If you've made it this far, write self-love in the comments so I'll know who the victors are who finished the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content like this. Share this video with those who may find it useful. Now, I recommend watching one of these 2 videos to continue learning about Stoicism and human psychology. A big hug, and until next time.